he asked me, how much are you raising? And I said, we are raising $1 million on a $10 million valuation. I had read a lot of your story. I had a lot of Inc. 42, aaj ye fund hua, aaj wo fund hua, aaj isko 10
And all in millions, right?
All in millions. The candidates, the talent, which is in tier 2, 3, 4 cities, towns, villages, they do not even have the exposure. Ki mujhe karna kya hai? So they end up doing BBA, BCA, MCA, and they are not able to make careers. Okay. So earlier, to call 5,000 candidates at a rate of 50 candidates per day, 100 days it is going to take. Now this can be done at a rate of 2,000 calls per minute in 2.5 minutes. I really believed in you, despite how difficult it was.
You remember the first KPI sheet, how long it was?
Oh God. I was like, we could have survived bootstrapped. When you are raising your first one and you are doing it through a VC, so then it definitely is a lot of things that are out there. But it gave me that clarity. Now when I sit with accounts, now when I sit with my CAs, with my auditors, I know exactly the pointers to discuss. Yeah. This gave me that confidence. This is not just an engineer running a business on an Excel sheet. And yes, I am a businessman.
Hello and welcome to episode 55 of the Money Talks. And we are back with an amazing guest who's been through an incredible journey and a very unique investment that I have made. Right. And I'll explain why. But we have Rahul Veerwal, the CEO and founder of GetWork. GetWork is a company that is India's largest placement cell connector. Right. And what it does, I'll leave for Rahul to tell us. But Rahul, welcome. How are you feeling today?
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anirudh. I mean, it was totally unexpected and I'm so happy to be on the Money Talks. So this is a podcast that I have been viewing for a long time and it is an honor, an absolute honor to be
Thank you so much, Rahul. I know we've been planning to do this for a while. Right. And it just happened randomly that we ended up getting this done. Yeah. But tell us a little bit, maybe in 3 sentences, what is GetWork?
So GetWork is India's #1 fresher hiring platform. Okay. So we started with the vision and a mission to actually help the talent from tier 2, 3, 4 cities of India to land up the opportunities in the big companies and something which they can be proud of whenever they are getting out of the colleges. So yeah, this is what we are doing.
Okay, yeah. So that's literally 3 sentences. But let's also share the story. So like I was saying, the very unique story because sometimes you meet founders that you meet in India, but their ventures are domiciled abroad.
Right.
Sometimes you meet founders in India whose ventures are domiciled in India. Right. But this was a very unique situation, right? Where I met a founder in a foreign land, in a country I've only visited once in my entire life. And they were domiciled in India and were a venture for India, but they were pitching at an event in Turkey. Right. We met.
I mean, these were, I think now that these were the stars aligned and it was just one meeting that we had at that point of time and it changed everything. So
we met up at Startup Turkey.
Yes,
right, in Istanbul, and I was as a speaker / some judge for an event over there. And you had also landed up there. It was very odd because there were not that many Indian startups there.
Right.
I think you were one of the only ones there.
Yeah, I mean we were one of the 3-4 startups that were there, but yes, very unique.
How did you find Startup Turkey? What was the whole journey there?
Right. So essentially, I just was out of college. So in August of 2017, I finished my college and then I worked for almost 1.5 years with the Excel Analytics.
Correct.
As a business analyst. So October 2018 is when I started my own startup with the name GetWork. And सबसे पहली चीज जो किसी भी एक फाउंडर के दिमाग में आती है and I was just out of college was the investment. I don't know why and I don't know how, but it is something that is out there, right? So we also started seeing for those opportunities and everything. So I applied on Startup Istanbul. So it was like if you apply on this and fill up a whole form, then we'll award you and reward you. So somewhere I have heard that if you get rewarded on international platforms, then it really helps you out there. Which is, I would say, not such a marker to getting an investment. It's a good opportunity, but that is how I ended up there. So I filled the form and everything, and then later they did an interview and we got a call that we have been selected as top 100 startups. So I was there to present and to actually get that exposure. So I asked a lot of my friends and a lot of other founders. So I asked Pawan actually.
Acha.
Pawan from Kritikal.
Correct.
So he was like, "तेरे को करना है तो कर ले. Like if you want to go, but it is not going to make a lot of difference." But again, as a new founder, as a just out of college, so I was curious. And
plus Istanbul.
Plus Istanbul, yeah. So those were the 4 days that I was there, and I can see that I was absolutely pitching everybody who was just like, who was moving and who was saying, who had an investor tag. I was just telling them like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. So I think, that is why I landed up there in Istanbul.
And I think you pitched. I was one of the judges when you were pitching.
Yes.
There is actually a YouTube video of our first interaction.
You should play that.
But that getting said, it was a very interesting conversation because when we met, I told you something.
Yeah.
And you took it very seriously.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And many people would have said, "Kare, ऐसे कुछ बोल दिया, like just to tell me to buzz off."
Yeah.
But I actually meant what I said. Right? And maybe you could share what that interaction was, because I think a year or so later.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You reached out to me again.
No, I will tell you exactly the same, exactly the timeline of that. So, first of all, we met at the mentorship day where you suggested me on that, and that is the part of the video as well, YouTube video. Then after that, later on the next day, I also saw you there, and you were, I think, the only Indian investor that was invited for this event. So whenever in a foreign land you see an Indian investor, you have the tendency to just go there and pitch them. So that's how I did that there as well. And you won't believe I got 2 cards from you. So I pitched you twice. So there was one very unique thing that stuck by me and that remained. So you told me the story of Wow Momos. So you told do you know about Wow Momos? I was like, no, I don't know. So then you told me that in the beginning they made the business and they made it so solid that now the investors are after them. Correct. And they are not they are picking and choosing and who to get invested with. So that is something that got stuck with me, and I think that was the first time where I got a little how should I say, एक ठहराव आया कि एक जैसे जो एकदम से निकलते हैं कॉलेज से, एकदम से स्टार्टअप होता है और फिर इन्वेस्टमेंट. So there I felt like this is something to stay by, because it was taking a lot of my time creating things which do not exist. Correct. And so there was also one event. So we were at that yacht. So they had that yacht thing, and वहाँ पे there was a French guy, and we were just standing there, and so he asked me why are you here? I told him about GetWork, that we are here to raise investment, and he asked me how much are you raising, and I said we are raising $1 million on a $10 million valuation. It was like almost there, it just came out of my mind, and that is what I thought. So I had read a lot of your story. I had a lot of Inc 42, आज ये fund हुआ, आज वो fund हुआ, आज इसको 10
and all in millions, right?
All in millions. So I thought it would be that way. But after talking to you, I felt that yes, this makes more sense, because right now whenever I'm getting just the questions and I'm spending a lot of time. So I had 2 cards. I had your direct number, but I never reached out to you. Yeah. Then I called you on February of 8th, 2021. Right. February 7 was the money that was transferred, and my words to you was that I had your number all time long, but I stick to the plan that you had given me, and I followed that one, and that's when we got funded.
Yeah, and it was a very I think it took us a lot of time to finish the due diligence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
and we'll get to that story about what you've learned from that journey, and I think we've improved on that as well.
Yes.
But let's talk about how you, Sumit and you,
yes,
right? Both of you were in college together.
Yeah.
Right, and then both of you all went to work.
Right.
Different companies.
Yes, different companies.
Different companies, but you all stayed in touch.
Yeah. So Sumit was from computer science, so he obviously got the computer science jobs and all, and I was from chemical engineering, so I got into business analytics. So we were in touch, but not all the time, but we had this common goal that we used to talk about, how we can improve. So there was one thing that was common to us, that we came from the tier 2, tier 3 cities. Correct. And we saw that part because even today, Sumit family, in my family, there are a lot of people who struggle. So we had that empathy towards the problem, and we both were...
And the problem being? Exactly.
The problem being that the candidates, the talent, which is in tier 2, 3, 4 cities, which is in towns, which is in villages, they do not even have the exposure. कि मुझे करना क्या है. So they end up doing BBA, BCA, MCA and all of those courses, and they are not able to make careers
Correct.
out of that. Wherein we, God bless, and our parents were so dedicated that they heard somewhere that you have to go into NIT, you have to get into
Correct.
IIT, and it is going to change the lives. So we were the ones who took that
And
step.
you went to
wanted
MNIT in
yeah, NIT Allahabad. And
NIT
then
Allahabad. Yeah.
Yes,
Correct.
yes, yes.
And then the problem we were trying to solve was like, you've got all these universities outside the IIT, the NIT. Uske bahar jo universities hai,
Right.
They don't have placement cells, most of them, right?
Exactly.
I mean, leave out the ISBs of the world.
Yeah.
But then you start going a little bit deeper and they may not have the budget for a placement cell.
Yes.
And hence those students never get in front of the employers who are looking for freshers.
Right.
And on the opposite side, you also have employers who want to go and hire freshers, but they don't have a recruitment team big enough to go to tier 2, tier 3 colleges.
Exactly.
And I believe there is some research also done on this, that that the productivity level or the quality level of a tier 2, tier 3 college graduate is not that different from that of a tier 1. I mean, there may be a bit of a delta there, but it's not as big as the delta in the salary you're paying them.
Exactly.
Right. What can you tell a bit about that?
Right. So, Anirudh, if I have to put it in numbers, there are 90% of the students. India graduates 1 crore graduates every year.
1 crore, that's 10 million.
That's 10 million, yeah.
Right.
So 1 crore graduates, and out of that, 90% of these graduates are coming from these colleges, the ones that we are targeting, these tier 2, 3, 4 cities colleges. The difference is not that huge in that one, but the salary difference is definitely there.
Yeah.
So if you see any company that is out there, so for each one IIM candidate that is getting hired, or one IIT guy that is getting hired to lead, there are 25 others that are getting hired for doing the jobs that they are directed to. So basically there is a manager, and then there are executives,
the team leader
and
or something, maybe the IIT guy.
Yes.
But then the person below, the team behind him is usually not IITs also.
Exactly. Right? When we saw that, even when the dearth of the talent is there, so everybody was saying that we have almost 30%, 35% of positions remaining unfulfilled. And then you see the TCS, Wipro and Infosys kind of companies which are recruiting in bulk and then training, but not everybody has those training budgets and everywhere. So that is what we thought, this is where we can bridge the gap. And GetWork solves it in a very innovative way. So what we do is we give a SaaS product to this college. We onboard these students right in second year.
Very interesting.
And we track them over the period of 2 years, and we collect over 200 data points on them. And this helps us actually give them exactly what they need. So you can be sitting in, say, a village, Mavana, or a town wherein you are aiming to become a Python developer at 6 lakhs package, right? So what do you exactly do is what is being told by GetWork, and this is bridging the gap. That's
interesting.
How. Yes.
And why should the college pay you?
So the college should pay us. Okay. So the college should pay us because, first of all, their students are getting the job opportunities that are out there. Essentially, it gives a lot of marketing pointers for them as well, because even being a tier 2, 3, 4 college, they are able to get the same placement that the tier 1 is getting.
In terms of percentage placed.
And also, it also provides an exposure to this college by being seen by so many companies. And we have seen almost 5 times increase in some of the college placements, wherein there were just 15, 20 candidates who were getting placed throughout the year, only in 3, 4 companies like TCS, Wipro, Infosys, the previous companies, and we changed the whole game. Even the companies which are not they do not have time to search the colleges. They do not have time to go for who's the best college in this tier 2, 3 city. They now directly connect with GetWork. We get huge mandates. So with some of the big enterprise clients, we get mandates 5,000 candidates in a year, 4,000 candidates in a year. So now we have that capacity to actually intake from all of these colleges, and that's how we bridge the gap.
Wonderful. And so basically the college pays you,
right?
They basically send you some sort of a data dump, I would put it, right? And then you make accounts for all the students, right? And then you help them get jobs by offering placement, and you're doing internships. Right. As well as full-time opportunities.
Yes. We're doing internship and full-time, and also internship has been made mandatory by AICTE, and in which in every semester you have to do internship, and then so the last 6 months we have to dedicate it to the internship.
I
So
see.
that is where they do not have to increase their team, but can get a lot of opportunities through us.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah.
Wonderful. And then, so besides the college, what other revenue streams do you have?
So we do have 3 revenue streams as of now. So first one is from the corporates. So corporates take a subscription or go for a pay-per hire plan. So essentially that helps them reduce a lot of expenses when it comes to the recruitment. So basically when you are going to a tier 1 college, you have a clear mindset. Even if you are flying to any part of the country, say supposedly you are sitting in Mumbai and you want to hire from IIT Delhi, you will fly there. You know that at the end of the day you will have 5 candidates who you will give an offer letter. But the game changes as soon as you jump from tier 1 to tier 2, 3, 4. Every Shiva, Parvati and any other college is exactly the same. You do not have that clarity, and we put that sense to that data. In the very beginning, so we started working with iProcess. So iProcess earlier was working with 18 different vendors to fulfill their fresher hiring requirement.
Okay.
We replaced those 18 vendors with just one platform named GetWork, and we brought down their hiring cost from 8,000 rupees to just 1,000 rupees per candidate.
Wow. And how did that happen?
So basically, we do have already a pre-assessed data. So now the agents that they were working with, the 18 vendors that they were working with, it is a raw structure that they have. So they go for Excel sheets, they do the calling and all of that. But when GetWork takes the data, it is completely synchronized with all the colleges that are out there. We post an opportunity, then the applications start flowing in. Then we segregate them into the batches, like, okay, this batch is good for this location, this salary, and all of those.
Okay, so you're also doing a 1:1 matching with
1:1 matching as well, right? So it saves a lot of time for us, and that's why we are able to.
But are you doing this manually?
No. So we are not doing it manually. We are doing it from the technology perspective only. So we have written some ML algorithms, and that is how we are doing it right now.
Okay. Yeah. And then in between, they've also started something called GetWork Club.
Yes. So sorry, I was just coming to that. So GetWork Club is where we have the third revenue stream. So essentially, if you see it, that whenever you post a job, you get hundreds of applications. You end up hiring 10. 90% of them goes to dump, and which is actually the reality. So you have certain requirements. Now these students were struggling, wherein first of all, we started with the exposure. We gave a lot of opportunities, but these students were still not getting selected. So then we thought that, we have the data on each student. For example, I take Shubham. Shubham wants to become a Python developer with a 5 lakhs package at a company in Mumbai, but he's again and again failing. Wherein the reviews from the companies are coming that this part, the Django framework part in Python, is weak for Shubham. Okay. And that is where we are helping them through GetWork Club. Okay. So we are not a edtech company, but we are a platform, a marketplace where we are onboarding vendors who can actually suffice these requirements. Okay. There is a big difference in that. So edtech companies, how do they do is because that is their bread and butter, and nothing to nothing against anybody, but if somebody has made a Java course, then they will shove it through the throat. You have to take it. They market on Instagram, Facebook, and everywhere. But our point of view is that we understand the requirement of this candidate and fulfill that gap. And that is what GetWork Club is all about.
But how do you do this at such a scale? Right. You have how many students are on the platform today?
So we have more than 2 million, 20 lakh users already on the platform with GetWork.
20 lakh
users on the GetWork.
And that's very small compared to the fact that you said there's 1 crore people graduating every year.
Every year, yeah.
Wow.
So we have a long base to cover. We have just reached 1,500 colleges so far, and we have a long way to go.
Where are most of these colleges?
So these are segregated all across the country, but we do have major presence towards the north, and but some of the presence in the south states.
So now that we've talked about the business, let's talk about the journey.
Sure.
Right? So you and Sumit started this together.
Right.
And then after that, Pallavi joined later.
Yes, Pallavi joined later.
Right. And then Pallavi and you are also married now.
Yes, Pallavi and me are married.
Okay. So it's very rare to have you onboard a co-founder of life and a co-founder for the company at the same time.
Yeah. So funny story. So actually I met Pallavi when she was heading her own startup. So she had a startup in the travel space. So she had it with the name of Muskurahate. So that's how we met, and we were at an event where.
And you must be using her for all the tier 2 college visits.
I wish. She had most of the trips on the the mountains. So,
Acha.
but yeah, I mean, that's how we met. And then we started meeting and we started understanding. So she had that startup wala part that she wanted to do. And in 2020, when the COVID came down, so the travel industry was not doing that well. And that's when I pitched her, like, why don't you come on board? I have seen that, you working on your startup, and it's pretty impressive how you have scaled that so far. So that's when I thought it would be a good one. Yeah.
So today, tell me, just give me some top level stats for GetWork.
Right. So essentially, we started back in 2019, and from that, we have reached from a team of 2 members to a team of 65 members right now. From starting from just a drawing room of our house to now having 2 offices currently. So and also in terms of revenue, we are at a run rate of 60 lakhs per month. This is monthly recurring revenue. So almost
That's roughly about 900,000 a year.
900,000 a year. So that is where we are right now. And we have raised 3 rounds of funding, starting right from you.
Actually, you had before us. You had
yes, one pre-seed, one pre-seed, seed, and then pre-series A. So yeah,
and
in terms of customers,
so one of the things about taking money from colleges, right?
Yeah.
What revenue you tell us and what revenue actually comes in.
Yeah.
Right, and this is just experience.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Build revenue and actual revenue have a huge lacuna.
Right.
But is that the same with you? Like, build revenue could be 100 rupees, but
right,
actual collected is 40 rupees. That's what I've seen till date whenever you build colleges.
Right.
Because it's for colleges, they're not usually profit making.
Right.
So they want to delay payments as much as possible.
Yes.
And sometimes collection is a big issue.
Yes.
And we've lost a lot of money personally on both investing in startups that sold to colleges and schools, and also investing in the debt.
Okay.
Right, where we sort of gave venture debt type solutions to startups and for providing equipment to colleges and schools, and we've not recovered. Definitely less than 1x recovery on these.
Wow.
Right. And we had very deep conversations on this early on. I think we butted a lot of heads, right? Initially, and because you do see the growth, you do see the numbers, and I think initial collection when we started doing the cohort.
Right.
Was about 30%.
Yes.
32%.
Yes. So I'll tell you a very funny story around that. So in the very first year, our build revenue was 54 lakhs, and these are the exact numbers that I'm telling you, and our recovery was 34 lakhs.
Yeah.
So exactly the same point that was out there.
Recovery as the outstanding amount.
Outstanding amount was 34 lakhs.
Actual revenue was 20 lakhs.
Actual revenue was 20 lakhs. Yeah.
Right.
So that's when we started.
But you paid GST on 54 lakhs.
We paid GST on 54 lakhs. Yeah.
That's how the conversation started.
That's how the conversation started. Yes, exactly. So we were at 30% in the very beginning when it comes to the colleges wala part. We pushed it to 60% after the initial discussions. Today, I can proudly say that we are at 96%.
Wow.
And this is what we have done, and I would like to thank you for actually pushing.
I would like to thank you.
Right. So initially, I was very frustrated. This is the time to grow, and this is the time to actually build the revenue and make it. And so I remember one time we having a conversation back in 2022, in the very beginning of 2022, and I was like, let's make this as a free solution for colleges for now, and then we can bill them in some other way.
Yeah.
Where you stood the grounds and you were like, no, you do not have to do that. You sell less, you just grow by 7%, 8%, 10% month on month, but do not do this, because otherwise you'll not even get them to pay any value add services.
Yeah.
And that is very true. And that proved very true in our scenario, wherein it improved gradually, but it is a solid revenue that we are making.
Yeah.
So the idea here is that if you have the right solution, and if you actually pitch it in the right way, which is actually solving people's problem, then everybody pays.
Correct.
And the moment you just say, okay, we can do that and we can negotiate, and you are seeing a bigger fake picture, I would say that, okay, let's bill it and the money will come. Then you most of the time is just spent in recovery, and which is a headache in itself, where you do not have your mind free for the next big thing that you could have in making, wherein you are just struggling to get those payments right there. and cash flows and revenues are totally different things.
Yeah, definitely. Just like price and value are two
Just like
different
price and
things.
value, yeah.
But so I think, and just to maybe go a little bit deeper on that topic, right? That what we were really discussing at the time was that, the easiest thing to do is to sell something free.
Yes.
Right. But once you sell something free, you've already said that there is no value to it.
Exactly.
And which means if there is no value to it, why should somebody in the future also pay for it?
Right.
And once you've said, and it's so difficult, and I'm glad we had this conversation, because there were other founders we had this conversation with also, and some agreed, some didn't.
Yes.
But the good thing is that the ones that forced the customer to pay, right, also got the feedback that was valuable.
Yes.
Because if you ask somebody to pay, a college might be paying 50,000, 60,000, a lakh rupees a year, I'm guessing.
Right.
And if you didn't give them value back of at least 5 lakhs, right, the next year they're not renewing.
Yes.
Or at least they'll call you and yell at you.
Right.
And I think that somebody interacting with your brand,
right,
to the level of calling you and yelling at you, ki, I expected this from your brand, you did not do this.
Yes.
Is way more important than somebody being indifferent to it.
Exactly. It's invaluable. That is what I'd say. Otherwise, free products, they just eat dust.
Yeah. And why would they ever give you any feedback?
Exactly.
Other than good feedback? Because I never paid anything for it.
Right.
So the value of zero is zero at the end of the day.
Exactly. So I would say two things worked in our favor. First, the first time founder. So it was good. So I really believed in you right from the very beginning. So
Despite how difficult it was.
Despite how difficult it was.
You remember the first KPI sheet, how long it was?
Oh God. It was huge.
What did you think when you saw that KPI sheet?
I was like, we could have survived bootstrapped. That was the first thought that came to mind. So, definitely not an easy journey for sure, but it really prepares you to do the big things. That is what I can say. Scaling from... starting from when you came in, it was around 3, 4, 5 lakhs a month that we were doing.
I don't think it was less than 2 lakhs.
Yes, it was around that. And today to 60 lakhs revenue that we are doing, it could not have been if we were doing it honestly. And
I think you would have got there. I think you would have just taken longer to get there. Probably burnt a lot more money.
Yes.
I think the KPIs. And I always believe, right, that so Marwadis and Gujaratis, right, and this is the very cultural thing, that Marwadis and Gujaratis have this habit of reading their trial balance and balance sheet every Friday.
Wow.
To understand how much have we moved within a week.
Nice.
So and that is one of the primary reasons why Marwadis and Gujaratis are so good at business. Right? They don't look at balance sheets at the end of a quarter. They look at it
every week.
Every week. Trial balance is looked at every week with a ruler.
Nice.
Right? Nice. What every line item, why is this outstanding? Wow. So that is their KPI sheet.
Nice.
Right? Because they've now understood, they brought their entire business into a trial balance.
Right.
I believe founders that look at their numbers regularly and track everything, like an athlete, right?
Right.
Athletes want every advantage they can get.
Right.
Andre Agassi once shaved his entire body.
Right.
Because he believed that by having less hair on his body, he would be more aerodynamic by a micromillisecond.
Yes.
That's the difference that makes the difference.
Right.
And I felt that the founders that tracked their numbers similarly, right? With almost like a bloody passion. That the numbers will tell me what to do. I will not do anything without numbers.
Exactly.
They tend to make better decisions.
Yeah.
And they tend to make much more deeper, far-reaching decisions much faster.
Right. No, I couldn't agree more on that. This is exactly the right thing, and this is exactly how the businesses should run. I might copy that Gujarati and Marwadi thing.
You'd be surprised, right? If you saw your trial balance every Friday, right? You would know exactly what's happening in your business.
Exactly. So we are still going for a monthly income statement thing, but this is a good one.
Exactly. Now we don't talk weekly, right?
Yes.
You must have thought when you invested, itna bada KPI sheet, this guy's going to call me every week. And we used to get on 2 calls a week at
calls a week,
Now we talk once a month.
Yes.
But the business is now known to each other, right? We don't have to get into details except for a couple of sheets and we're done.
Right.
I have felt in other businesses, I've now got down to once a quarter.
Okay.
Right? And over a period of time, become once a year.
Nice.
right? But because now that we're tracking the same sheet, there's no need to look at it
Exactly.
on a weekly basis. But the intent has always been that it's not for me, it's for you.
Right.
I built the dashboard for you. Now you run the business.
Right. No, I mean, it was a great journey. Like, we started from nothing, honestly. Like, when you came in, the KPI sheets were not there, the MIS was not there. The first due diligence that we did together
That
was
took 7 months, 8 months.
like almost. So as I remember, 5 months. 5 months it took us, right? From the decision.
Just the
that we-
DD. Oh, sorry,
just
the whole deal took about 8 months because we had got IC approval and all that stuff. Yeah.
Just the DD took 5 months. So that was there.
And by the way, not our fault.
Yeah, not your fault. Right, it is good to make it clear. So yeah, I mean, like, when you're raising your first one and you are doing it through a VC, so then it definitely is a lot of things that are out there. But it gave me that clarity. And now when I sit with accounts, now when I sit with my CAs, with my auditors, I know exactly the pointers to discuss.
Yeah.
And this gave me that confidence, like, okay, this is not just an engineer running a business on an Excel sheet. This is me, and this is something that I have learned over the time period. And yes, I am a businessman.
Yeah.
So it really gives that confidence.
Right?
Yeah.
No, and it's required. Right?
It is required. Yes.
I think in some ways you've also taught Sumit how to do business, and he's supposed to be a techie. Right? I think Pallavi is always a businesswoman.
Pallavi was always.
Yeah. I don't think we could have learned from her.
She's a Sindhi.
Yeah.
So definitely it comes in.
Even Sindhis, I think. So, I'm sorry. It's Gujaratis, Marwadis, and Sindhis look at trial balances every Friday. Right. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about this. The co-founder relationship, right, between Sumit, yourself, and Pallavi, and I'm because it's a very weird relationship with Sumit and you first, and then a wife got added on later.
Right.
How are you managing the dynamics between the three of you?
So first of all, the major part is the clarity between the roles. That is very much required. So when we started it up, so it was me who was handling the whole business. Sumit was handling the whole technology. When we got Pallavi on board, she was managing the business growth. So that is where she added in. And when we figured out, she is much more better at operations and actually understanding that innate feeling of how to build brick by brick. I consider myself more of a visionary. Right, thinking more into the future. This is what we can do. This is what we can build. And when I see Pallavi, I see somebody who's not that key, let's go and fly, but brick by brick, build it up. And that is where we found out a good tri-party sort of arrangement wherein she can handle the operations, which require very unique ability to actually be consistent, have that thereof, and actually build one by one. Sumit always have been really, really good at technology, and me handling the business and the sales part of it, wherein I could show visions and initiate the conversations, have the customers on board and everywhere. So this is how we figured it out. So the second part that we have really gotten into is open conversation between the three of us. So whenever we are in the office, whenever we are in the business meetings, we are business partners. Later at home, he's my friend. And he's a very good friend. We spent 2 years in the college being the roommates, and she's my wife. So we have parties.
She's the CEO at home.
She's the CEO at home. Yeah. Right.
So let's talk about you've got to about 900K.
Yes.
Right. Which is a very decently large number. I think your lifetime raise has been about $1 million.
About $1 million. Yes, right? About $1
million. And you, in your last, I think, report said you have about 12 months of runway left.
Yes.
Right. But the business from here has to go 10x again, right? Now, if you're thinking about the next step, tell me what's going to happen to get this business from this 900K to 10 million ARR.
Right. So first of all, we have to be really innovative on what the customers want. So the journey that we have covered so far is actually the product market fit. Now at this point of time, it is that yes, we have got that product market fit, but there is a lot of gap that is still out there. How we can make 10 times from the same existing customers that are out there. And that is where we are innovating and moving ahead with the technology.
Okay.
So we have come up with GetWork.ai. So GetWork.ai is a game changer in this industry that we are seeing. Okay. And it is completely built on the inputs that we have received in the last 5 years. So the problems that were faced by the companies, the problems that were faced by the colleges and their students, it is a common solution that is going to solve a lot of problems. Wherein with GetWork, we have been very, very, what I'd say, um very conscious on what is the next step that we take. We had been very conscious on building the SaaS product. If I must tell you that we are the number one company now. So earlier there were two other companies that were heading that position. We are the number one company in terms of the colleges, the SaaS product for colleges
And
that we
most
have
of your
created.
colleges are based out of?
Based out of north,
Okay.
majorly Punjab, Chandigarh, and Rajasthan, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and all of that.
So your
belt.
west and south is still.
West and south is still. So west maybe we have the presence, and south may, like, Maharashtra may we have around 35, 36 odd
Considering
colleges.
Maharashtra South is going to be a whole, there's election year.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, I mean, this is where we had been there, right? So we had been very consciously, and again, the inputs that have been common to
Who are
both
some of the
us.
top customers, by the way?
So top customers are Motilal Oswal, Religare, Sher Khan, Aditya Birla Group. The complete group is one of our customers. We do have then some of the customers in the startup segment as well, like Leverage Edu is one of our customers. No Broker has also hired certain people from us. So these are some of the customers that are out there.
And you've got a very interesting group of investors also that's back to you.
Yes.
Obviously, Artha is there, but
Yeah.
then.
As Artha is there, Samartha Investments Advisors is there. Then we do have founders of No Broker. Both the founders of No Broker invested in us. And then founder of Better Place. So Praveen and his wife have been there. And also the founder of Let's Venture. So
Okay.
she is also one of the angel investors.
Okay. And I think Suchi is also invested.
Yes.
Okay.
She's there.
No, and so let's now get into this future.
Yes.
Right now we've reached, like you said, we've got product market fit. Our customers love us.
Yeah.
We're obviously solving a problem. We're growing, but now we have to take a leap.
Yes.
Right. So and this GetWork.ai.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's not just a bunch of people in the back making this and calling it AI, right?
No.
Right? So
So
what does it do?
Out of that phase. So basically, GetWork.ai is essentially the rocket that you need and the engine that you need in the already built systems that we had. So with GetWork, the SaaS product that we had, so I'll just run you through the numbers.
please.
So 20 lakh candidates from 1500 colleges from 302 cities of India.
Okay.
This is the data that we have captured. These 20 lakh students applied on jobs. 8,000 plus companies came on the platform. There was a huge amount of data that is being generated from us. Now, what we are focusing on is that how can it be personalized to each customer's usage and how it can, like, cut through the nonsense data that is out there.
Okay.
For example, right now we do have the platform ready.
But let's just talk about the customer. You've got
Yes.
3 sets of customers: the
Yes.
college,
the college, the corporates, and the students.
and the students.
So I'll start with corporates. So corporates, for example, let's take the example of
So it
Motilal
could be 3
Oswal.
C's, like the college,
Yeah, 3 C's, yeah.
the corporate, and the career seeker.
Career seekers, yeah. Right. So let's start from the corporates. So for example, Motilal Oswal, they post one job and they get thousands and thousands of applications.
Correct.
10,000s of applications we have seen coming through our platform itself. Earlier, what used to happen is that a recruiter is required to actually look at their resume, screen it through, and also do a call. Now we are making this no nonsense logic. With GetWork.ai, you receive 10,000s of resume. It will instantly screen the resume and give a score against the JD, which is going to be ranked from
Against the job description.
Against the job
So,
description.
and how does it do that?
So we are using the artificial intelligence as a backend, and we have also fine-tuned these models. So based on the data, the last 5-year data that we had got, so we understood the behavior of the companies, of the colleges, of the students. That how are they recruiting? So for, like, a salesperson who is good for you might not be good for me.
Correct.
Because you want somebody who's aggressive, somebody who is actually a go-getter, wherein I am looking for somebody who is, like, a nice person to talk to. So based on all those parameters that we collected over that period, so we trained our base model and then we made it a usage for us as GetWork.ai. So right now it understands the
So
resume.
stage 1 is you dump a bunch of resumes
Yes.
into this model.
Model.
And obviously with the job description, it does a matching and says out of these 10,000,
Yeah.
maybe 20% are actually
20% are actually there, or 30% are actually there, and these are the ones that are matching, right?
Correct.
Now the next step that usually comes is that a person calling them and actually verifying the details that are on their resume, because you have seen, like, what is happening right now. So now this person actually is a recruiter. This
Correct.
is a junior recruiter that just calls up. So say supposedly you applied for a business analyst position, so this person will ask, like, where did you do business analytics? Do you really know R? How did you apply this? How did you do all of those things? Like a basic screen check, a hygiene check for that.
Correct.
Now, the average that we have seen, so it is one recruiter per day doing 50 calls. Now, we have also used the power of AI here. So what we are doing is that as soon as you give a prompt, a job description is created and your resume starts scoring, and these 30% good resume that you have got, we can now initiate calls, a AI powered call at a rate of 2000 calls per minute.
Wow.
These calls will go to these students, and they will ask the relevant questions, do the hygiene
And
check.
there's not a real human on the back.
That's
it's
not
just a machine that does not get tired.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it is going to ask all the relevant questions according to the JD, and also do all the screening questions. Like, if you are from, so what is your location? Are you willing to relocate? What is your last working day? And then, like, if you are saying that you want a job in sales, give me an example where you used sales and where do you
It's
did
asking
sales.
contextual questions beyond
Contextual
what
questions.
is okay.
Exactly. Contextual question as well. And that is what we are rating at the back end, that, okay, this is the person who should be ranked higher. So that's how it is saving the time.
Okay.
So earlier, to call 5,000 candidates at a rate of 50 candidates per day, a recruiter is calling, you imagine, like, 100 days it is going to take, 100 man days. That is what you can say.
Correct.
You can have a team of 100, but it is just the course that is getting added. Now this can be done at a rate of 2000 calls per minute in 2.5 minutes. All these calls are deployed. So this is what we are making now. So earlier we built the system. Now from 1 million to 10 million.
You had 1,000. So let's say you had 10,000 resumes.
Yes.
70% because they don't match.
Right.
They're out. 30%. Now you made the first phone call to those 3,000 resumes.
Yes.
And after that, how many of them are getting eliminated again because of,
Right. So generally what we have seen is that only 15% are the ones that actually make this cut.
Okay.
Right.
15% of the 3,000.
15% of the 3,000.
So that's 450.
450.
So
yes.
10,000 down to 450.
450 and in the matter of time. So the result would have been the same. Like, if we'll do the recruitment call, the result would have been the same. But it is the amount of time that we are reducing.
Also, the human error is higher, right?
Yes.
When you have humans doing it.
Exactly. And then it is also giving you a reason that if somebody is getting rejected or being put in a disqualified pool, then there is a proper reason that is being given to that, like, why this is the decision that is being made, right? And after that, like, once the 450 are there, then what happens is that as human beings, we do have a tendency to actually over say things, right? And that is what is going to happen here as well. So now, what used to happen in a general scenario, and we have seen that, okay, Rahul, you sent me 450 candidates to interview, but only 10% of them or 15% of them were exactly what they were saying.
Correct.
In the and what recruiter is saying, recruiter is coming to the interview and showing sir, this is a good candidate and I have done the hygiene check. You do not know anything about that candidate apart from the resume that you have, right? And this used to pose problems wherein you are meeting and spending time, and these are like high valued people who are interviewing. These are like, being billed at 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs a month, right? 30 lakhs a year. So these are those people. So now we have also included one more layer, which is AI powered assessments. These are well proctored AI powered assessments. So 7 questions are generated right when you upload the JD.
Now, okay, the initial
job description whenever you upload it. So the 7 questions are generated according to the same context that you have given, right? And for the people, like these 450 people that have been screen called, these will take the assessments and this will be asking the relevant questions for them.
Based on the JD.
Based on the JD and based on the resume as well.
Okay, both of them.
Both of them. And then this is also somebody that we are providing to you. We are
so like right now we do put out questions, but the questions are only static, right? They're based on the job description, but not on their resume.
On their resume, yes. So I will tell you the difference. So if you put a static question, it will sound like, okay, what do you know about R? Or R language? Or what do you know about business analytics? Or like, how do you do project management? But a contextual question will sound like, how did you do a project management in your last job at such and such? What were the problems that you faced and how you resolved it?
Got it.
right? So these are the questions that you ask generally in interview where you're spending time, but we are doing it one step ahead, so that you have, whenever you are entering in the interview, you know that who are you talking to, why is this person is here in the room, and what are the follow-on questions that you have from that assessment. And that is how we are, like, saving the time there as well. In this report, we are not just giving a consolidated score, we are giving 5 strengths and 5 weaknesses as well of each candidate, wherein they are going to get ranked as the most suitable, and then recommended, then so strong, suitable, recommended, and then not fit for the role, and then, like,
so usually out of the 450, how many get, let's say, this the ranking that is beyond, like, saying what you said, strong, suitable,
yes, and then recommended.
Yes.
So
suitable and recommended, what's the difference? Is there a score that difference?
So that's a score at the back end that we are managing. So this is like a score out of 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is how we are doing that.
So how many of them make the score of 3 or higher?
So 3 or higher, what we have seen is completely depend on the job role, so the job description. But on an average, it is around because the screening is done very, very efficiently. So around 15 to 20% of these people
of the 450 now.
Or 50.
So now you're down to 90.
So
you're saying we started with 10,000.
Yes.
Right. We're down to roughly a percent.
Upper percent. Yes.
And that's the only people that are getting met.
Okay. Yes.
But you're taking the whole fun out of recruiting.
It's not a fun for anybody, honestly. So basically, we are just reducing the time of that expectation setting.
Okay.
So I will tell you how the recruitment start. One day, business will give the requirement, and everybody gets excited. A new person is going to join the team. He's going to change the world, right? But the time to find out this person is very longer. Correct. And that is what we are reducing, so that you can, like, do the expectation setting.
And how does the pricing for this work? Are you pricing it on a per stage basis, or are you pricing it just like on all the resume basis?
No. So we are pricing on all the resume basis. So there is a subscription that is out there. So this is very, very easy for anybody. So it is one more step ahead that I have to tell you. So GetWork.ai is a plug and play option.
Okay.
And it is a global scale option. So essentially, you can talk to it in Hindi, English, Urdu, Malayali, Kannada, and any of the languages.
But you're talking about global when you say Indian global.
What about French? Example of Indian global, but yeah, the French global and Spanish as well. So this is how we are creating it. And the fact that, like, we are giving all these AI powered technology at a specific fixed cost, a per month subscription cost, so that you can get the best out of it.
Okay.
And then there are value added services which are built on a usage basis. So this is how
let's just talk about GetWork AI, in which you're doing the assessment. That's not a subscription, that is on a per credit.
That's a per credit. A per credit. So what we are giving in a subscription.
But are you then charging that by saying, okay, if you dump 10,000, do you pay for the entire 10,000 regardless?
No. So you do not pay for those 10,000. You just only pay for the calls. So say supposedly when we initially screened, there were 20%. So there are 2,000 calls or 3,000 calls.
So those 8,000 you screened, do you charge anything for that as well?
No, we do not charge
that's
anything.
Free.
That's free. That's in the subscription that is already there.
Okay.
So that whenever you move to the paid subscription, so you get that is all free for the platform. And then after that, once you do the calling, then that is charged. And then after that, the assessments are charged.
And you're saying the assessment is the one. Okay, that's why you're buying the credits.
Exactly.
So now GetWork.ai is available to all your customers. How does it work?
So right now we are rolling it for our existing customers, because these are the ones who are from whose inputs we created this product. So right now it is available for existing customers, but we are
all the existing customers, you have to beta testing.
So beta testing on that one, and the companies can also join the wait list. So we do have a wait list going on, and we will keep on enrolling 25 companies on a monthly basis.
Okay.
So that we can give the best opportunities to them, and they can use the power of AI through GetWork.ai.
But now 25 companies, as an investor, you're like, why not just open this up to 1,000 companies at one shot, right?
Right.
Why not do that?
So essentially, we want to make sure that, whatever we are saying, we are committing to it and we are delivering it. Again, it is the same thing that we had been discussing right from the very beginning, that the consistent efforts towards making it better is very, very important. And that's what we want to make sure, that once the product is really mature, then only we go it out for the masses. So right now, we want to keep it limited to the companies that get to experience.
And the companies that have already got a chance to use it.
Yeah.
Right. What has been the Some numbers. I mean, how many days has this product been live?
So we have made this product live 9 days back. So exactly 9 days, we have conducted more than 5,000 assessments, and the results
So
are
assessments again are 1% of the number of resumes you receive.
yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So 50,000 resumes, 5,000.
5,000 के आसपास we have done the assessments, and the results are phenomenal. So they really love it. Basically, it is like, opening up to a new experience, an entirely new experience. So earlier, everybody was expecting that, it will take a 10 days, 15 days, or 20 days time from reaching from 50,000 to these 5,000, but it was done instantly.
So how
that
instant is instant? So 9 days, or you're saying like.
So 9 days, we conducted all the assessments that were out there, right? But the assessments that were majorly conducted were in complete 2 days. So in 2 days, we conducted all these assessments, but this is on the basis of the availability and on the requirements essentially. So now, but the capabilities.
So you're saying that the assessment of, sort of archiving 99% of that pool
right?
took 2 days.
Took 2 days, yes.
Right.
Yes,
And
yes.
the 1% that you had left, they had already been called. So they were.
So they have been resume screened,
Okay.
called screened, and then taking the assessments.
Wow.
Yes.
And don't you think that's going to eliminate so many jobs?
No, it is not going to eliminate so many jobs. So I will tell you, in the last 2-3 years, there has been a mischievous thing done by the job boards. So there is an easy apply option. People are just applying. And this is creating a lot of pressure on the companies and the recruitment agencies, because a lot of data comes in.
That's true.
Now it creates decision fatigue.
It happens to us. We put out a principal profile. I think at least 10% of those profiles are teachers looking for a principal job.
Exactly.
You principal of a school.
Yeah,
you're not a principal for investments.
Exactly. So that is what I'm saying, that this is a decision fatigue that is getting into your system. It makes you do two things: either make a wrong hire, which costs you 30 lakhs rupees. Wow. According to the Indian standards, it costs 30 lakh rupees to do a wrong hire. And this is, I'm talking about the mid-level position. Senior level, it is much more. And then the second is not getting the right candidate, or not missing out on the good candidates. So this is what we are making it do. Cutting through the nonsense.
And the loss on that, it cannot be counted.
It cannot be counted, exactly.
It cannot be assessed. Yeah.
Yes. So say supposedly, I'll tell you what happens right now. The existing solutions, what they do is that you get 5,000 application or 50,000 application. Then because you cannot go through these many application in a human way, so you apply the primitive filters, which are like, अगर गैप्स हैं जॉब में गैप्स हैं तो हटा दो, अगर एजुकेशन में गैप्स हैं तो हटा दो, जिसके 70% 10th में नहीं आए थे उसको हटा दो. So basically this is what you are doing is just random, right? And there are a lot of chances where, like, this makes you miss the right people that are out there. With this approach, it is very, very pointed towards getting to you the right candidate. First of all, the resume is being matched by JD. So essentially, if the person has created the resume with his willingness, then they are getting in. The second part, even if they have faked something on resume, say supposedly somebody has added a lot of skills and all of those things, say somebody said Python 5 times, and then they got in. Take an exam. Then the screening call that is being done, it is being asked, why are you good at this? Even if they fake things. Then the third level, the assessment, it is the 7 pointed questions on figuring out the exact part, that okay, if you have done this, where did you do this? What are the problems that you faced and how did you solve it?
Okay.
So essentially, it is just
is it also asking to write code?
Yeah, it is asking
to write code as well.
Yes. That is all the things that we are doing right now. Yeah. So it is all kind of tests and all of
can we
these
make
things.
it to write a financial statement, or ask them to make a financial model?
So right there on the platform. Yeah, I mean, we can try.
This might take a long time.
Position. The person may get tired, but yeah.
So what's next? Now that you've got this product, right? And you've got obviously your 2 other lines of businesses that you're currently running. Where do you see GetWork in the next 12 months?
So we see a huge leap, at least tripling the revenues for us. And we see that a lot of adaptation, because this is something which has been a problem. And this is the problem for existing customers, enterprise, startups and SMBs. So this is the exact solution that we have found out. So we see a lot of adaptability, that is for sure. And we also see a average revenue per user also increasing because of the solutions that we are providing, and this actually cuts through the nonsense and gives you the exact results. And the platform becoming at least 50 times smarter than what we are today.
And I think we were talking about this right before, right? Like how when you didn't have to focus on collections,
Right.
the mind was open to do new things.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And so important.
Yeah.
Because you meet founders, and I've seen so many companies where they have very high margins, but the collection rates are 30%, 40%.
Exactly. Yeah.
So all the margin that is being talked about is actually with the customer,
With
not
the
with you.
customers. Yes.
Right?
Yes,
And because if the customer doesn't pay, you never got the margin.
Right.
And once you decide, I'll drop my price, but pay me now. Right? Don't pay me later, I'll drop my price, but for that you have to pay me now. Right. And on that, I'm happy making a 40% margin, but the money's in my account.
Exactly.
On a SaaS kind of a play.
Right.
That makes a huge difference.
That definitely makes a huge difference. And I am going to accept it. It was not an easy call to make because we were seeing a lot of invoices going out at that point of time. But to hold us back was very, very important. I think you can never know the history, but you can also only, you can never know the future, but you can only join the dots going back into the history.
Correct.
So I think that is what exactly, if we would have not taken that decision 3 years back, then we might not be in this position that we are right now.
Correct. And then I mean, we saw this yesterday, right?
Yes.
And the team was absolutely floored.
Yes.
Right? I think you came for a 30-minute meeting. You were here for almost half a day.
For half a day, yes.
So very amazing product. Again, I recommend anyone that is out there hiring to give it a taste, give it a run. It looks extremely amazing. I think because I'm personally recruiting right now,
right.
So I know that the pains I'm going through, and yes, I'm not probably using a very primitive filter, but it is primitive compared to what you're talking about. But yeah.
Yes.
Experience, etc., that to filter out resumes because there's just not time.
There is just not time. Yes, exactly.
So with this, Rahul, is we have come to the end, at least of the main conversation. Right. Now, as you know, the Money Talks has a very interesting section which is called Rapid Fire.
Yes.
And I think, are you aware of the rules?
So
because you've seen enough. You said you've seen enough of the podcast. So this is the litmus test right now.
You just run me through it once more.
So effectively, I have a list of questions right here.
Okay.
Roughly about 15 of them. Okay. And I'm just going to ask you a question. Okay. First thing that comes to mind without thinking, that's the answer you got to go for.
Okay.
Right? Sometimes you get in trouble, sometimes you don't.
Okay.
All right. But no thinking. Okay. First is rapid fire.
Okay.
Right? And there's no hamper.
Okay.
Right? So don't expect any kind of a Karan Johar hamper at the end.
So let's get ready.
All right. So we'll get started with the rapid fire.
Sure.
First question. From day one of your startup journey to today, describe the evolution in 3 words.
Therav. I will explain that in this. And then, okay. So... okay, I'm thinking. So Therav is one, which is, I feel is very good. And the things that I used to get worried about a lot in the very beginning. And that is, I think, is the one that I can explain.
Just one word is enough.
Just one word.
No other words are required. Okay. Okay, good. Dream collaboration. Which Indian startup founder would you love collaborating with on a project and why? So let's say on GetWork AI.
On GetWork.ai, right? Yeah. So I would like to collaborate with Ritesh Agrawal from Moyo.
Oh, from Moyo. Okay.
From Moyo, yes. And you had an investment in there.
So Ritesh, if you're listening and you're hiring at Oyo, I think there is a way I could get you a little higher on the wait list.
On the wait list, yeah. But no, the way they are executing and the way they are expanding, it's Ritesh's brain and really wonderful. Yeah.
Good. Number 3, what's one habit you must do every day, no matter how busy you are?
So I have recently started manifesting. So that is something that I do. So I write in a yellow book with a red pen.
Achha.
So
yellow book with a red pen.
With a red pen, yes. So this is something that Pallavi taught me. So I do it every day.
Let's talk about something maybe on the recruiting side now, right? Remote work for startups, boon or bane? Do you believe in it or not?
It's a bane. It's a bane. I do not believe in it. Definitely not.
Why is that?
Because you do not have structures in place to actually cater to that response. So for an example, a graphic designer, if they are sitting out of the same office, because for the companies, big companies like KPMG, EY, global companies, they have these structures in place already. What you have to do, what you not have to do, everything is written down in a form of SOPs. But startups do not have the privilege.
There's no SOPs.
There are no SOPs, right? You are supposed to do this and that and all of those things. So that's why, we faced a lot of problem, and you'll not believe we have worked with shutters down in our office. So
Acha, even
during
in
that COVID
yeah,
time,
I remember. Okay. If startups were off the table, where would we find Rahul Veerwal today?
Okay. If startups, I would be doing something in the startup arena only. So I was
कीड़ा तो था ही.
कीड़ा तो था ही.
हाँ, वो तो होना ही था.
I was very clear. So I think it a lot of times, if I would have not started GetWork, then I would have started something. That was for sure. So yeah.
Work-life balance, and in your case, definitely work-life balance. Let's ask you this question. Right? Is it myth or reality?
It's a myth.
Why do you say that?
No, I mean...
Pallavi, are you listening?
No, she's in the same boat, so nothing to say there. But yeah, I mean, there is nothing like work-life balance. And I don't think the startups and the people who are actually... and I will not say even to the founders, even to the people who are building anything for that matter. It's a myth. So it is always like, sometimes the work is going to take your major part of the day, and sometimes life is going to take the major part of the day. So you should not feel guilty about it. So the major part and where people go wrong is feel guilty.
Right.
When they are supposed to work, they are thinking of life, and then when they are supposed to enjoy, they're thinking of work.
Yes. So, when you're there, be there.
Yes, be there.
Right? Yeah.
That's it. So some days we both are working like 17, 18 hours a day, and we are completely fine with that. And sometimes we are enjoying that much, and we are okay with that as well. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes. And let's talk about your top productivity tool or hack.
So for me, Slack is one where I maintain my own conversations. So that is something where I keep all of that, and Google Calendar. These are the two ones that work really well for me.
So when you say calendar, do you calendar even your tasks in that?
Yes, I do calendar my tasks. Even I do calendar my say supposedly if I have to ask something from you and you said that let's discuss this about 2 days after, so I'll mark that on my calendar.
On your calendar. Perfect.
Yes.
Wow, that's calendaring is incredible.
Yes.
If you don't have it on your calendar, it doesn't exist.
Right.
First thing you do when you wake up.
So I do touch ground with my this finger, and I thank God. So I feel like we are much more than just being founders and startups and all of that. And I just thank God that for
the original founder.
Yeah. And I just ask him two things that keep me and my family happy and disease free. These are the two things that I ask for.
Wow.
Me. Yes.
So no Pallavi is not there in the
first.
So far, every founder I've asked has not mentioned the wife.
She's family.
Like I said, I promise you these rapid fires are designed to get you into trouble.
Yes.
Okay. One piece of advice you'd give your younger self before you started GetWork.
So my answer to that is that it takes time. And some things are just meant to happen over the time period.
Correct.
So this is something where I have spent a lot of energy and lot of time in implementing a customer experience automation platform, which was not required at that point of time. Yeah. So I thought our notification should also go like Swiggy's is going, Zomato is going, and all of those things. So that is what I tell to my younger self, that do not get into that part. Some things will take time. So prioritize that part and get what is the most important thing right now to do right now, and let the time come for that.
It's so important to be patient.
Yes, it's important to be patient.
I think somewhere or the other, there is an expectation that because you're a startup, you're supposed to grow fast.
Yes.
But not do everything fast.
Exactly.
Right? Certain experiences will take time.
Right.
You can't see the Himalayas in one. I mean, you can see it in a plane ride.
Right.
But you may not experience the Himalayas in that sense.
Yes.
So I think it's definitely very, very important. That's a great piece of advice to any new founder out there.
Thank you.
One hobby of yours that most people don't know about.
So, okay, one hobby of mine which most people do not know about. I surf web a lot. I don't know, if this is a hobby, but
all of us have that hobby, by the way. So I don't know if that's a hobby. If everybody's doing it.
I mean, GetWork has taken a lot of my part. So
GetWork is your hobby.
GetWork is my hobby.
Okay. What's the last book you read that left a deep impact on you?
So this was How to Not Worry and Start Living. So this is by Dane Carnegie.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's a really good one. And there is one very specific part of it wherein he says that, be as soft as a lump. And that has a stick to me, where he says that, when we are driving, our eyes are doing the work, and our hand is doing the work, and brain is doing the work. But there is no reason to keep your body stiff. And this is what we do a lot of times, even when we are working, like, we are like this and our hands are straight. So this also tells that, we are wasting a lot of energy that we could do to, like, the really productive time part. And that is something that has stuck with me. So this is the book that I have written.
Wonderful
Yes.
part of that book, actually.
Yeah.
And it's a great book, by the way.
Yes, it's
Dale
an amazing
Carnegie's How to Stop Worrying and Start Living.
And start living,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In 10 years, where do you envision GetWork?
So in 10 years, so first I have a envision for 5 years. So I see it a $500 million company in itself, and we see a global approach with GetWork. And in 10 years, what I see is it becoming the place for the recruitment, becoming the one of the biggest competitors of LinkedIn as we see it today.
Wow.
And that is where we are headed towards.
Compared to LinkedIn, is going to be quite amazing.
I know.
So, well, great conversation, Rahul. I really enjoyed this. It's been a pleasure to watch you grow, quite honestly. I think from the earliest days, and like you'll see in the video,
Right.
your first pitch,
Yes.
at least the way I remember it, to building the company, building the structures in place, and today now being able to get to a platform and saying, hey, not only do I have product market fit, I also have a platform on which I can actually now build something massive. Is been an incredible journey, and it's been a fantastic conversation.
Right.
Thank you so much for staying back.
Thank you so much, Eddie.
Any final things you want to tell the audience?
No, I would say that, that to have people like you on board is really a blessing, I would say. And it is like, Rome was never built in a day, and not by a single person.
That's so true.
Definitely it takes a
I
lot
like
of
that second
people.
part, right?
Yeah.
Rome was not built in a day, and not by one person.
Not by one person, yes. So I started alone on this journey, and also, like, Sumit joined in on that part. But what I feel is, like, you really need to have the core team that is out there, and not just the core team, but advisors and board members like you. So thank you so much for trusting us and for being the part of
Thank you so much, because we're prone to give gyan.
Yeah.
Right. So, but not all the gyan is accepted, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you've listened, and I think you've been a great student. Yes, the road has been tricky because you're obviously fighting against other companies that were doing it for free.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
and we've had that conversation that we have to stay the course.
Right.
But the road ahead looks very, very exciting, and I hope to have you back. Maybe after 30-40 more episodes, and we'll talk again, and we'll look at the conversation from today and then have an update.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. And once again, I think it was great to have an entrepreneur that obviously you've seen, from the first few lakhs of revenue, probably the first lakh of revenue, to where he is today. And the decisions, like you said, when you connect the dots going backwards, that some of the decisions that were so critical,
Yes.
small decisions to you, maybe major decisions at the time, but not realizing how that's going to free up things in the future. So sometimes you need to get these external investors. And I've always said that, don't just get an investor for the money.
Right.
Get them for their advice, right? And that advice, if it's good, the money is way more than what they have invested. And so in many ways, that's the difference that makes the difference. And I hope this conversation today has taken shape, and we look forward to some great things from GetWork. We will post the links to the books we talked about, to getwork.ai,
and the
waiting list,
yes.
and also to the GetWork platform, so that everything can be available, and for everyone who's listening and has been on this video to test it out. Right. So wonderful. Thank you so much, Rahul, once again.
Thank you so much, Anirudh.